In response to the rising wave of insecurity across the country, the Northern Senators Forum is calling on the federal government to urgently equip the military and other security agencies with modern weapons and resources needed to combat terrorism and insurgency effectively. In a statement released on Wednesday and signed by the forum's chairman, Senator Abdulaziz Yar'Adua, the lawmakers strongly condemned the recent deadly attacks in Benue State, where over 100 people were reportedly killed by suspected herdsmen. The forum expressed deep sorrow over the tragic loss of lives and extended condolences to the families of the victims. They also wished those injured in the attacks a full and speedy recovery. The Northern Senators emphasized the importance of vigilance, urging Nigerians to remain alert and report any suspicious activities to security agencies, noting that national security is a shared responsibility. They reiterated their commitment to supporting policies that will strengthen the nation's defense capabilities and ensure lasting peace across the country. Now, joining me to speak more on the worsening insecurity in the country is a security and cyber expert, Augustine Ega. Thank you so much, Augustine, for joining us at this time.
Good afternoon. My pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Now, Augustine, can you speak to us on what you think is driving the rise in attacks and violence across Nigeria, especially in the north central or northern region?
I think from the analysis you carried out, there's a statement by one of the youth leaders that read that lands which were taken and given to the Fulanese herdsmen should be returned to the rightful owners. That one too is an issue that we are not aware of except themselves that are in that community. But on the global scope, I think we have a lot of issues from the Sahel region. We knew that it's going to come like this because where nations where they have military rule, they don't tolerate all kind of terrorism is not tolerated, arms carrying is prohibited, and they deal with it decisively. And so I am referencing the nation of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, which shares common boundary with us. These people, since they have a military rule, definitely they arm bandits or they arm people there will definitely look for a more comfortable place where they can have their peace and do their and coordinate their attacks. So I think Nigeria, we have a porous border. We've been saying this, and there is nothing to check them from that axis to Nigeria. So the inflow is very easy for them to come, and they use the jihadist system or the jihadist tactics to take over to invade certain places and see where they can have their comfort and establish their comfort in those areas. So they know the regions that are close, especially like while we have the Niger Delta, especially Benue, you know that they have the river Benue in that axis. So that place is a very cool place for them to stay and then ferment their attacks. But basically, we can say that from the global scene, because of the military rule there have been a kind of a push of these people down to Nigeria, where we don't have very solid defense within those borders. Fully that these people are Nigerians. I don't want to believe they are fully Nigerians. It's like fight and take over the land. Wherever you can is your place, take it. That is the style I see.
All right, Augustine, but what would you say about the current strategies and resources, that are in place? Would you say they're adequate to curb or to effectively curb, these attacks?
I will still quote a military chief who said on this Benue attack, he said that the matter is beyond the military. So if the military is saying that this matter is beyond them, that means there are another measures need to be taken. That means they are calling on Mr. President to look inward. The first thing to do is to carry out a thorough risk assessment of this environment. What is really happening in that community? Because we wait until things happen and people die before we start taking action. Ordinarily, from my own observation from time, we don't have a proactive security system. What we have is reactive. And I will also push my blame, apart from the federal government, to the state governors. Benue have been on very serious attack. What platform do they have? What infrastructure have they built over time from the past administration to the one they have today? That is what I'm asking. Let's see a typical case we have in Lagos and Oyo State. I use this as references. They have a Motokun, they have in Lagos, they have a similar, a private system that is working. You don't depend on government. What are these governors doing with the state allocation for security and at least raising up their own small system and see that they can police the environment and their communities? We don't see this happening in other states. And the only step to manage risks, it is not applicable in this state. One, you either accept the risk completely or you avoid it or you mitigate it. Acceptance of the risk. So let it happen. So I don't see this happening in this state, and it's troubling.
Okay. Now, Augustine, the northern senators are also calling for improved weaponry, for the military, to help them when it comes to insurgency, even though you did say that it is beyond them, according to the Chief of Army Staff. But then, in your view, what specific equipment, or capabilities are most urgently needed on the front lines?
That is a layman's thinking in terms of security. That's what those senators and other senators are saying. You don't win the war of terror by buying sophisticated equipment, though they need it. But a lot, like the last point I referenced, is that from the state level and from the community, what do they have in place that can monitor and gather intelligence? Military, the police, and all of these, they are a reactive force. Military are a reactive force, though I know they have the intelligence unit. It is even the forest, they farm in those forests. The military can never know. You are posting someone from, let's say, is a Yoruba man from the west. You post him to the north. How will he have full knowledge of your community and even the villages, the bushes that you farm, your farmlands? So it is the community themselves that understand all those areas. Historically, they know where it's vulnerable. So the communities should be involved in asking the government to build. Yes, the military will have their own sophisticated equipment, especially application of technology is very important because asymmetric warfare is very difficult to track. So they need all sort of technology to assist the military, apart from the heavy equipment. So that is one part that they need. I know that the military, they are up with their games. They know the latest technology in this kind of warfare. The military already know. So what I would say is that they need to up their game in intelligence gathering, and that is involving community policing. It is very essential.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Augustine, for your time and for speaking on this.